From Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes.
Bailey, how's it going?
It's going good.
I'm sports.
How do you feel? It's been a minute since we've done this.
Yeah, I feel pretty good here. Once again, I'm sports producer Scott Pennyman here for Sports Tonight, obviously with the chief, Bailey Burmaster. Bailey, it's just so much to talk about, man. I mean, I feel like you said, we haven't done this show in so long.
No, there's been a lot of
It's
sports
so
happening.
much.
A lot of sports happening. So we are going to get right into that. We can start with the Falcons, Panthers. Maybe we should recap what was going on a little bit Sunday. Obviously, they lost 29-25 to the Bucs and Baker Mayfield. And they really could have pulled ahead there in the division, but instead now they're 6-7, along with the Bucs, along with the Saints. And if you look at tiebreakers right now, Bucs are leading, but there's still a lot of football to be played essentially. So we'll see how that all pans out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk about Arthur Smith and Desmond Ridder. Where does the blame go? I'll let you start before I give my opinion.
Well, I guess do we really want to say, well, that was one of those games, though, and watching that game where I just don't know if there's a whole lot of blame to go around, right? I mean, it's just one of those crazy games where they just really didn't have much of an offensive rhythm for the first three quarters. Fourth quarter seemed like they found some. They got the ball moving. They got behind, got in the end zone, took a late lead, and then Tampa, Baker, like he is capable of doing sometimes, drove the team down and got into the end zone. And look, they almost had it. Reminded me a lot of the game I think Tampa played some weeks back where they were playing the Texans and they thought they had a late game touchdown, but then the Texans, 3 plays, bam, C.J. Stroud drove them into the end zone. It was real similar to that because I felt like had the Falcons had about 10 more seconds, they probably would have scored. On that last play, Drake London got stopped inside the 5. So I don't know. It's just, look, the Falcons are what they are. They're an up and down team. They're sort of topsy-turvy.
They're not an up and down team. They're a mediocre team.
Well, yeah,
And they're lucky the division is so terrible. Otherwise, they'd be getting throttled by people, to be quite frank. This is where I stand on
I see that.
Do I think Arthur Smith is the greatest coach? No. Do I think he is a terrible coach? No. I also believe you cannot judge a head coach without giving him a competent quarterback. I mean,
That's
we
fair.
talk about the Browns a lot, but think about it.
It's fair.
A lot of people were unsure of Kevin Stefanski until they finally were like, we have to get him a quarterback. We have to give him his guy. And they got him Deshaun Watson. Now he's hurt. I think
He made the playoffs with Baker, though.
Baker also wasn't terrible.
No, he's a starting quarterback.
Like, Baker's better than Desmond Ridder.
I agree.
And I think the issue with Desmond Ridder, and here's the crazy thing, I think in that Bucs game, it's one of the most sound-looking games he's actually had. The issue with him is his turnovers.
Yeah.
They're not just normal turnovers. They are detrimental turnovers. They shift the game completely. They're in crucial moments. And that hasn't broken away at all. You think, oh, maybe he just needs some time to get comfortable or whatever it is, but it's turnover after turnover, and you can't have that. You can't have that in the league where there's a lot to be made of turnover and turnover margin. So I think the reality is Falcons are going to be looking for a new quarterback after this season.
I agree. I think when you look at, I think for where they're at right now, if Arthur Smith comes back, which I think he will come back as the coach next year.
I will say this. Whether he comes back or not is totally determined by how the rest of the season plays out. There is a lot of football to be played. I'm with you.
If they lose out, then that could change.
If you even lose to the Panthers, I'm getting rid of you. You should
Wow.
be losing to a 1-12 football team.
Right after the game, you getting rid of him?
Maybe not right after the game, but that's a game you cannot lose. Period. I mean, on most of the teams they're playing are below 500. You should win out.
Ooh, see, I just don't think we're deep enough in the weeds of them being a good enough team to say games that they should win, right? I mean, should win out. I mean, that's kind of strong because I don't think they're that kind of team. Can they win out? I think they can win out.
No,
should they win out? Ooh.
If you to keep Arthur Smith's job.
I mean,
So hold on. Let's talk about this. Let's talk through this real quick. So you lose to the Panthers. Well, okay, no, we'll give them that.
yeah, I think they'll beat the
They win
Panthers.
that one.
Yeah.
You still have to Saints,
Let's put.
the Colts,
Those are tough football
and the
games.
Bears.
Those are they could. I could see them losing all three of those too.
Correct. And how you lose those games will tell you if Arthur Smith is keeping his job or not.
Because they could lose to the Colts. Been playing way better than anyone expected.
And that what I'm saying is it's not about losses and wins. It's
How you lose. Well, I mean, look, it's the NFL. These games are all going to come down to the wire, right? I mean, they're probably not going to get blown out, and they're probably not going to blow too many teams out either.
The game last night shouldn't have, or last night on Sunday,
Yeah.
should not have. I mean,
That's a tough divisional game.
it is.
Yeah.
But it's also the Bucks and Baker Mayfield. Let's not act like they're a top tier team. They're also a mediocre football team.
Yeah, I think those two teams are probably on the same level of each other. Yeah.
Correct. And you're at home. You should be expected to win that game.
I
I
think
think how these games play out, whether win or losses, and how this team looks and how they perform and how they respond, will be very telling of whether Arthur Smith keeps his job. That's essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, and look, that was all these divisional games. I think, with the exception of the Panthers, are going to be coin flip games. When the Saints play the Falcons, when the Falcons play the Buccaneers, those three teams are all pretty
I'm just
similar
also
from a
saying
ability
this is a
standpoint.
mediocre football team too.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, all these teams, these are all coin flips. You flip a coin up in the air. I think either one of these teams could come down with a win. With the exception of the Panthers, who are obviously probably the worst team in the National Football League, which is why they should win this Sunday. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be. I could see. Couldn't you see either one of these three teams winning the division, even with and?
Yeah, and then I can tell you what's going to happen. They're going to go to the playoffs and they're going to lose to whoever they're playing.
But-
I don't even need to know what team they're going to play. They're going to lose.
But it's kind of crazy because when you look at the standings in the division, not just within the division, but within the NFC. So we assume that the only playoff team from the division is probably going to be the divisional winner, right? But they're also alive for wild cards. Like the last wild card team right now is 6 and 7. so there could be conceivably two teams.
Of the NFC.
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
coin
we know
flip,
that. AFC
right?
has been more of a powerhouse. But the interesting note is players we're talking about. It's in the past. We got to move forward. Here's a look at what Bijan Robinson and Calais Campbell had to say in locker earlier this week.
Even if it works or doesn't work, like he's been in too many experiences where either, if it goes the wrong way or if it doesn't, he's still been in some tough situations and some great situations. So it's good to hear from him.
What was it like this morning when everyone got back together after everything?
I mean, obviously, like, you want some more smiles because, you want to win the game. But we know that, we got to, these last 4 games is going to be, super important, super vital. We're trying to win every single one of them so we can go to the playoffs. So obviously we got to take it one game at a time. But, we know that these last 4 games are going to be, Super Bowl games for us.
This is a quick turn, but with Drake London having a career game yesterday, what about him just impresses you on a regular basis?
Just how he works. Like he doesn't complain. He doesn't, worry about touches or anything. Like he just goes to practice, goes back to work, and that's all you see from him. And I mean, he's gonna express his emotions on the field, and he's gonna want to do the best that he can to help the team win. But just seeing him at practice every single day, it's really encouraging to see a guy like that. Just come back to work and try to be his best.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, Bijan, what would be some of the keys as you all get ready to face the Panthers?
Just dominate him up front and, understand that, we need to run.
Quarter when y'all got it rolling, what was it like? Y'all finally, working through the problems and getting it going.
Yeah, I mean that obviously I would say like that's how we want to do it for a whole 60 minutes. But I know that we had to come back in and do the best that we can to get the game, get us ahead for that game. But I think that we just need to learn that we need to keep that momentum throughout the whole game and not bring it second half and in the fourth quarter. But we need to do it, from when we start the game until we finish the game.
Thanks for coming.
I mean, at this point in time, those losses hurt, especially, at home in a division game, those are big games, but the biggest thing is that, there's a lot of good football out there played, and, we're going to keep our head high, we're going to focus, we're going to figure out how to be better going forward, but there's a lot of football left in front of us, and so, I mean, it's the same message, that you said today, it's just like, hey, keep your head up. Keep focusing, keep fighting. I mean, we could be better a lot of ways, and we will be better a lot of ways. But, it starts with just, understanding, like, hey, we're close. We're a lot closer than you think.
Is that something you as a veteran wanted to do specifically to the younger guys? Because you've been here in situations like this maybe, or multiple different situations where it's like, hey, it's not over yet. Like, this one might hurt more, but there's still time ahead.
Yeah, I think a big part of it is, he's the guy we need, and he's going to make big plays for us, all the guys, this will take all of us, and we have a team that's talented, and when we do it right, it's a thing of beauty, but we just got to be more consistent. And so a lot of it is, just making sure that we, stay grounded, because you don't know which play is going to be the play that's going to make a difference in the ball game. And so every play is crucial, and you can't sit there and so the biggest thing is just making sure that guys are focused, guys are locked in. And a lot of it is stuff I tell myself. I just feel like if I need to hear it, then I assume other people do too. So it's just, spreading confidence, trying to, spread good energy and know that even though it burns, even though it's painful, keep your head up and let's keep going forward.
What do you see on a daily basis that makes you believe in this team so much?
I mean, you turn the tape on, and then you also just, you got a lot of guys that care, guys that are, focused and will continue to just, give great effort no matter what happens. And, we just got to be a little more disciplined in crucial situations. But, especially on this defense, man, we were so close to being so good, and it's like crazy, and hopefully we could, get a little more healthy here, because that does matter too. But, this defense is so close to being special. We just got to keep sawing wood, keep, focusing on the small details and trying to just do our job at a high level and the whole moment consistently.
Keeping that in mind with being so close, how do you use that as motivation rather than having it turn into frustration?
Well, I say it right there is like, once it's over and done with, you can't really do anything about it. You learn from it. But, this game, is over and done with. You can't let it beat you twice. You can't dwell on, bad plays or bad games or, losses. Everything up until this point really doesn't matter anymore. It really only matters is what we do going forward. So it's a next play mentality. We have it during the game and you have it, after the game's over too. So now it's our next game, and this game is going to be as big as any other. So, we got to come with everything we got and go find a way to get a win on the road.
How frustrating is that, though? You get barely under about 295 total yards you give up, and don't come out with a W. And it seems like you held Mike Evans in check. One catch, 8 yards.
Yeah, the frustration isn't really so much I feel like the frustration is more like that we could be even better, that we can play better. And so it's like, but, it's not really like a strong frustration that you want to, it's a frustrating, that creates motivation to try to be a little bit better. How can we improve? How can each one of us look ourselves in the mirror and, what can we each do to be just a little bit better so we can find a way to win this next ball game and hopefully, when you get in, just get a win streak going, and at this point in time in the season, every game is so crucial. It's December football, and if you want to play in January, late in January, we gotta win these ones. So, it's that focus, understanding everybody's tired, everybody's hurt, everybody's, got something they can complain about. But dig deep, stay focused, and let's keep moving forward.
And one game lead going into it yesterday, and then obviously the result happens, and now you got a three-way tie for the division. Things are getting tight.
Yeah. It's football, though. It's the NFL, that's never easy. And anything worth having is definitely something you got to pay a price for, And so, yeah, we would have loved to have won that and, created some distance, and, been in a better situation. But, that wasn't, what happened. So now we got to deal with it, But, I think we're definitely up for the challenge, I think we got to go out here and win some ball games. And and if we do, we'll have, we win these. If we can win off 4 straight, I guarantee we'll be in the playoffs. I'd be shocked if we weren't. So I think at the end of the day, it's in our hands. So just gotta do what we got to do.
And a couple of injuries still in the line. It just seems like it's something every week. I mean, who stepped out?
Yeah, we got to step up. That's it. That's a big one. But hopefully, we'll get some guys back too. So, I think we have a lot of talent on this team. A lot of guys that can get the job done, and and hopefully we get a couple guys back this week. But it's part of the game. It's football. Everybody's dealing with injuries, though. We're not the only one. And so. It just is what it is. We can't feel sorry for ourselves, nothing like that. Just gotta, get the guys who are going to be up there ready, and let's go out there and play good football.
Hey, Clay, it's on the 4th and 1 in the film review. Did y'all see the ball come out?
I didn't actually even look to see if the ball came out.
Okay.
I didn't check to see that, so I don't really know.
Okay.
I was more frustrated with that play because I thought I could have made it in the backfield, and I should have made it in the backfield. The running back did a really good job getting right behind his blocker and squeezed through. And I had him for a loss before Dre got to him. I had him, and I couldn't get him down. And that's heartbreaking to me because I just know that's a play I've made 1,000 times. And, offensive line grabbing me or all that, there's no excuse. I still got to make that play. I am who I am. I make that play, 9 times out of 10. And that was just the one time where I didn't, and it's heartbreaking. But I didn't actually look at the end result because of that. I was just, I was just looking at, the part where I could have did better.
Hey, and then just Carolina's been, long time since the season opener. They had some problems up there, but just how do y'all, prepare going into, getting into the week and preparing for the Panthers?
Yeah, one thing for sure is they're going to give us everything they got. They're going to fight, and so we got to definitely be as prepared as we can be. And that starts with just watching the tape and getting a feel for what they're doing today. They gave Tampa everything they could handle last week, and then I didn't get a chance to watch the Saints game yet, but they're definitely going to compete and try to upset our season. That's just how it goes in division games late in the season. So we expect their best effort, and they're trying to get a young team going, and so they're talented as could be. So we got to just go out there and focus in and put ourselves in position to win the ball game. No problem.
All right, so welcome back to Sports Tonight. We lost a mic in the middle of Calais talking, so now we have to get close and buddy-buddy. And
it's all good.
It is what it is. So we're going to keep it pushing NFL storylines today. We know they talked a little bit about Patrick Mahomes yesterday. Quick thoughts for you. I know for me, I'm giving Mahomes some grace. He's been in the league how long? He's won how many Super Bowls, and we haven't seen him outburst or act any certain way or be caught in headlines despite who his brother might be. So giving him some grace, obviously, and coming out with an apology, too.
He was dead wrong. Let's be real. The guy lined up offsides, right? That's Pee Wee League football. Day one Pee Wee League. The guy was offsides. He lined up offsides. Patrick, I think more of his frustration was more so to his receiver. Probably didn't want to show him up. He wants to be a good teammate, but I think his frustration has been the receiving core's lack of being able to hold on to the football. Obviously, the lack of being able to be on sides. And Kadarius Toney, he's had a couple slip-ups this year. Remember the first game of the season, they played against the Lions, right? He had like 3 or 4 drops in that game, big drops. So it's been a really frustrating year for that receiving core with Patrick Mahomes. So I just think that's one of those things where the frustration just got to a boiling point, and he just lost it. But, look, we've all been there before. Patrick Mahomes, even though sometimes he seems superhuman, he's also human. He can have a moment, and he had a moment, and it's really nothing.
No, and that's what I think you're right. It was offsides, whatever. It is what it is. But for him, let's not shame and cancel Patrick Mahomes.
That's silly.
He had an outburst. He had an emotional moment. Sometimes as humans, we're allowed to those. Okay,
I had one 5 minutes ago. Sorry.
Did you? I missed it. Dang.
I'm sorry.
Let's move to our third topic. I'm excited to talk about this one. Ohtani getting paid. A massive deal, an interesting deal. So for those who don't know, he decides to go to the Dodgers. I'm not surprised by that. Being in LA, being with the Angels. Angels not really a competent ball club. And he loves LA. It's different than he's not really a celebrity there, so it feels nice. So it's no surprise he was just going to try and get as much money out of the Dodgers he could. But the deal is, and I don't have it right in front of me, but the breakdown. But he's going to get like $2 million a year for a couple years, and then it's back ended. It's basically so the Dodgers can build a team around him the next couple of years, which is great in theory if you can win.
Right.
But you still have to deal with the consequences in a few years, and it's like, do you not care about where your organization is in 5, 6, 10 years?
I don't think I think the only one who probably cares about the organization that long term is the owner, because he's going to still own the team most likely in 10 years. Mm-hmm. But realistically, if you're a general manager of that team, you don't care about 7 or 8 years from now, because if you don't win today, you're probably not going to have a job 6 or 7 years from now. So I think the people who are on this team, the people who are involved with this particular team, they don't care about what's being kicked down the road, because they want to win today. Guys like Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, the general manager for these teams, Dave Roberts, they want to win today. So they don't care what the structure of the deal is. But I think it's pretty dope for Ohtani too, right? Because
he's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, and he's making so much right now from endorsements. I think they said he's making like $45 million a year in endorsements. So he's good. He doesn't need to get all that money right now. Just imagine what over the next 19 years he's going to get.
He's set for life. Not that he wasn't before.
Right. I mean, like $600+ million he's going to have over a 19-year span with interest too, right? I mean, he's set for. I mean, that's generational wealth. He's good.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you this question in a bigger baseball look. What are you thinking of the Atlanta Braves now?
I think the Braves are going in the right direction. They're good. I mean,
but when you look at now, they're going to face Ohtani more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that
being in the National League.
Yeah, I don't think that worries them. I think the Braves have a great confidence about the team that they are. I think they know they have a great organization. They have a lot of good players too, right? And baseball it's not a one-man thing. Like, this isn't like basketball where you get a huge free agent signing like LeBron James or one of those guys and it changes the face of your team. He's only going to be able to play 4 times a game, right? I mean, and then maybe he'll pitch some. I think probably not next year, but the year after he'll go back to pitching. So I don't think it really, from a team standpoint, I think it makes the Dodgers better, but I don't think you look at the Dodgers if you're the Braves and go, whoa, I don't know what we're going to do with these guys, So I think the Braves will be fine. I think the Dodgers will be better, and I think this is a fun move for baseball.
All right, let's move to our 4th topic of the day. A little high school football mixed with college football. I'll set the scene, and then I'll get your input. Right. So cool. Dylan Raiola, one of the best quarterbacks in the nation in the 2024 recruiting class, committed to Georgia. So he had gone to school kind of all over for high school, was in the West Coast, moved to Buford once he was coming to Georgia. His father played at Nebraska. How I see this is Brock Vandergrift decides to transfer from Georgia to Kentucky. He enters the portal, ends up at Kentucky, which tips a hat that maybe Carson Beck is coming back next year. So if Carson Beck's coming back next year, Dylan Raiola probably is sitting on a bench for a year. He may not like that. Now there was speculation and rumors, but I have confirmed with a source that he is visiting Nebraska this weekend. He could flip. Now, worth mentioning, yes, his dad played at Nebraska, but his uncle is also the offensive line coach at Nebraska and was the only coach from the previous coaching staff that Matt Rule brought on, kept on his staff, which is huge. And I think people saying he's not going to flip his switch and go to Nebraska. I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I will say this, Matt Rule I know things didn't go well in Carolina, but he is really well respected in the college football world. Really, really well respected. So if I'm Georgia, I'm a little concerned. But what do you take away from this, Scott?
Hey, look, when you look at Raiola's history here, when you think about it, he went to high school in Texas, played there. Then he went to Arizona, changed out high school, moved all the way across the country to go to Buford. Meanwhile, the whole time he's committed to Ohio State, then flips on Ohio State, commits to UGA. Now he may flip his commitment again. I mean, let's just be real. Dylan Raiola is like the Lori Harvey of college football, right? I mean, this guy has been around to so many different – he bounces around more than her. I mean, he's not around for a long time. He's there for a short time and a good time. That's just what he is. Why
we got to point out the women? There's plenty of men that bounce around. Leonardo DiCaprio loves every model that's on the block. So easy.
I would just Look, I mean, that
Also,
was the first name that came to mind.
To take
for
this,
people.
to turn this another, I get what you're saying, but also I think this is the new landscape of college football.
And I'm good with it. I have no issues with him. Look, I think this is the game right now, right? It's pretty much free agency, pretty much after every season. And you can choose where you're happy and where you want to play, and you're available for the highest bidder. I see no problem with it. I think it makes it more fun. But I'm just calling it for what it is, right?
Here's what I wonder,
This
too.
kid is just out here.
Let's not get too far in the weeds and think
Yeah.
about this on not like just surface level, but his dad went to Nebraska. As a kid, you always think it's really cool to go where your parents went. And I wonder, because of how good he was, if he felt like he had to go to an Ohio State or a Georgia, when in reality, deep down, he maybe really just wanted to go to Nebraska and liked it and grew up a fan. I think that's okay too, but I think with today's...
Where his dad made him.
No, that would. I feel like that really wouldn't make sense. Parents usually want their kids to go to their alma mater.
That's true.
So I don't know. I just think it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Okay, let's wrap up here with a little of what's on your mind, Scott. Go for it.
Wow, what's really on my mind? Look, this time of year, I love it for the NFL, right? I mean, just like this is the crunch time of the season. This is when you start seeing the cream rise to the top. So, of course, like we talked about earlier, I've got to talk about the cream. Joe Flacco leading the Cleveland Browns. They're 8-5 right now. They have half their
Some
team.
old cream.
Half their team has died so far. I mean, half these guys are on the injured list, and they're still finding ways to win football games. So, look, it's good for me. Deshaun Watson went down. I'd rather have him playing quarterback right now. I wish he was out there, but the next best thing for them, Joe Flacco has turned the clock back about 11 or 12 years, threw 3 touchdown passes last week in an upset win over the Jaguars. I'm feeling good about where they're at right now.
I'll say this: it was really cool to see Joe Flacco get the
Yes.
win. I really enjoyed that. It's very cool. And you know what? Props to Kevin Stefanski. I won't
Yes.
say I've been hard on him, but I haven't necessarily been sold on him either. And I think this year as a coach might have sold me for the fact of how much adversity he's had to deal with. He finally gets his quarterback.
Yeah.
He gets hurt. Nick Chubb is lost in the first or second game of the season. That's terrible. I mean, they're having to find ways to win. And so hat tip to him. For me,
Best coaching job so far.
the U.S. women's soccer team just put out a Netflix documentary, and I cannot wait to
Nice.
watch that.
sure.
But that will do it for this edition of Sports Tonight. Make sure to join us for the rest of the week. Have a good night.